Hello everyone! It's been a few months now, but DJI has finally released a new firmware update for the FPV system, and the release notes have some surprises in it. Alright, let's jump into the release notes here, and you can see that this was released today, April 13th, 2020, and it's version 1.0.0.5.0.0. And you need to use the DJI Assistant version 2.02 to update all of your hardware to be compatible with this firmware. So, what is new with this firmware update? Well, this first line here is something that was hinted at in the previous release notes, and that is that they have added the ability to view HDMI live broadcasts by connecting the goggles to the DJI Smart Controller. By connecting the goggles to the smart controller using a USB-C cable, users can see the camera view of the air unit on the screen of their smart controller and then can transmit the live view from the smart controller to other display devices through an HDMI cable. Now, this is really cool if you happen to have a DJI smart controller. I don't, but there are some people out there that do. And this is something that they've been wanting to do for a really long time, and I wish there was an easier way to do it, but this is a step in the right direction. Unfortunately, the DJI Smart Controller is not an inexpensive add-on, but if you already have one for some other reason, then this is an awesome opportunity for you to get the video signal out of your goggles, and you could connect it into a computer, you could connect it to a monitor or a TV or something. It's not cheap, but it's now doable. So that is the biggest feature here for some people. Moving on, they have added a new custom on-screen display information, the home point direction, home point distance, altitude, and GPS speed. This is a big one for a lot of people who have been waiting a long time. If you've got a GPS unit on your drone and you want it to display the information for where your home is, to get that home point arrow to fly back to you if you're lost or if you're doing some long range stuff. So that is a great add-on or great addition to the OSD information. They say they have also added on-screen flashing prompt in the goggles when the signal of the air unit or the remote controller is weak. So currently when your signal strength gets weak, it changes to a red color. I don't know if that means that that signal bars are going to start flashing, or if they've added some other prompt on the goggles that let you know when your signal's getting weak. This is something I'm going to have to try out in the field and see how it works. They've also added a menu setting to choose to enable recording after unlocking the flight controller. So unlocking the flight controller is their term for arming your quad. So in the past, when you armed, it would automatically start recording. Now it looks like you've got the option to choose whether it should automatically start recording or not. They have added a menu setting to choose to enable the low battery warning alarm of the goggles. So this is an important one for some people because they run their goggles with a lower voltage battery source, and it's really annoying when the battery alarm goes off, or if maybe you're using not a LiPo battery and you don't care about the low battery alarm. Now you can use more batteries and have more options. They have added support for the Caddx Nebula camera model. So, Caddx Nebula camera. This is not something I have ever heard of before, and if you search Google right now for the words Caddx Nebula, the only place that appears is in this release notes. So I have no idea what that is, but that is a big surprise and a very exciting thing. And we'll have to see what that means in the future. I can't wait to see what the Caddx Nebula happens to be. That's very interesting. They have optimized the display and operation of the AV interface, added menu setting to adjust screen size and position, and added on-screen display for the battery level of the goggles. So there were some missing features to the AV input when you're using an analog module with the goggles, and they've made it so you can adjust the screen size and position, and added an on-screen display for the battery level, which is very nice if you're one of those people that uses the analog system. They have fixed an issue where the screen blurred or froze when unlocking an air unit light. Not an issue I have ever had, but that's great if you were having that issue. Now it's fixed. They have fixed an issue with the operation was delayed when using the remote controller on a simulator. So this is something a lot of people complained about in one of my videos where I showed how to use the DJI FPV radio transmitter on a simulator like Liftoff or DRL or Velocidrone. They were saying that there was a really big lag time in the input between the radio and the simulator. So I don't know what the problem was, but it looks like DJI has that fixed. So if you're one of those people with that problem, go check that out, test it, and let me know if it fixes the problem for you. And then they say they fixed a rare issue where the PID tuning did not take effect after changing the settings. So I think this is where you go into the OSD of the goggles, you change some of your tuning options in the goggles, and it should save that to your flight controller. And apparently in some rare cases that change was not getting set. So then down here there's just the quick notice how to do the updates. And one more very exciting surprise down here at the bottom where they say what's coming in the next update. They say there's a high bitrate mode, 50 megabits per second, which provides better image quality. So right now, if you look in the bottom right corner of your goggles, you'll see something like 25 megabits per second. This makes it sound like they will double that bitrate to have a much higher image quality. And I bet for those people that complain about flying around a lot of trees and in areas with a lot of texture and detail, they see a lot of blockiness in their video, and this will give a lot more bandwidth, a higher bit rate to get a much better picture to your goggles, and that will be awesome to see. So not only did they release a great firmware update again, but they gave us a great teaser to see what's coming in the next firmware update. So what do you guys think? Is this a good firmware update? What have you been waiting for the most that this firmware update has? Let me know in the comments. And as always, thanks for watching.